My husband and I went to high school together and we established a relationship in school. However, we broke up during our college years because of a long-distance relationship. During this time, he and I both had our own life and relationship experiences. However, we never forgot each other and often left messages to each other on social media. Gradually, we got back in touch with each other. I found that our feelings were still so strong. Before getting back together, we went through a lot of struggles and hesitations. We were worried that if we chose to stay together, we might have the same problems we had before. However, we knew that our feelings for each other were real, so we decided to try again. In the end, we chose to get back together and we value each other more than before. We spend more time and energy on each other, and we communicate more openly, which makes our relationship stronger. A year later, we had entered into marriage. After we got married, we were ready to go on a vacation to Hawaii. We had an unforgettable vacation there, which made us feel very happy. Before we went on vacation, we parked our car at the airport so that it would be easy for us to go home. Due to the weather, the plane was delayed for a long time. When we got off the plane, it was already evening. However, on the way home we were involved in a serious car accident. Due to fatigue driving, our car hit a car in the opposite lane. I heard a loud bang. I suffered head and leg injuries. I saw my husband stuck in his seat, his face distorted and obviously seriously injured as well. The moment the crash happened, I felt like the whole world had suddenly slowed down. It was as if I had stepped out of my body. I felt like I was an observer. I saw smoke begin to billow from the car, and I looked at my body and felt like I was no longer breathing. I saw that my husband was also not moving, and it seemed like he had stopped breathing as well. I didn't see his soul around either. I began to have a nervous feeling. I thought of my family. I was about to leave this world. But I hadn't said goodbye to them yet. I didn't know where I would go, and I didn't know what would happen to my husband. I felt like my existence had become so fragile that it seemed like a gust of wind could blow me away. I began to shout, hoping that someone would hear me. However, there was no response to my voice. I felt like I was trapped in a dark space. In my experience, there was no tunnel. This struck me as very strange, because I had read some similar stories. While I was waiting for the tunnel, time seemed to become unusually slow. I thought I might be dead, but instead of feeling scared, I felt very safe and calm. Suddenly, I entered a place of complete darkness. I looked around curiously, trying to figure out where I was. In the darkness, I saw an image of myself. It was like a movie being shown. Every moment of my life was being recorded. Every moment was so real that I felt like I was back in that time again. I saw my childhood and adolescence. I saw those moments of happiness and pain. I saw the people and things that hurt me. It was all presented to me in a unique way, allowing me to experience my life all over again. Not only did I see images of myself, but I could also feel the emotions of others. When the people around me feel happy, I am happy too. When they feel sad, I also feel sad. I feel that I have become more sensitive to my emotions and am able to go deeper into the inner world of those around me. I feel like I'm playing a giant game where everyone has a point account. Anything I do adds or deducts those points. I realize that every decision I make has an impact on my future. When I help others, my points increase. When I cause harm to others, my points are deducted, which makes me feel very guilty and upset. I realized that this points account could be the key to heaven, Or it could be the key that determines what kind of life we can live in heaven. Suddenly, I felt a powerful force. It was leading me to a light in the distance. This light radiated an unbelievable warmth and made me feel a happiness and peace that I had never felt before. In life, I am a detail-oriented person. I like to explore the nature and workings of things, so I was especially curious about how this place worked. I felt a mysterious power here. As I got closer to the light, I began to feel a strong sense of love. All my worries and anxieties disappeared in this moment. Eventually, I came to the edge of the luminous body. It was shaped like a cone and consisted of countless points of light. These points of light shone with various colors, making me feel overwhelmingly sacred and solemn. When I tried to enter the light, I found a force blocking me. I tried several times and failed. I began to reflect on myself and wondered what the cause was. I found out that it was the resentment within me that was stopping me. I had deep resentment towards certain people, and these negative emotions were becoming a barrier to my entry into the world of light. I realized that I had to let go of these negative thoughts. I tried to focus my attention and feel my heart with all my heart. I began to choose to forgive those who had hurt me, dropping all resentment and anger. The feeling was amazing, and at the same time I felt a sense of freedom and relief. I then entered that light, and this intense feeling of happiness was too much for me to resist. After entering the light, I felt a powerful force. I felt a feeling of unconditional love and acceptance that was incredible. It made me feel so happy and fulfilled. I felt completely safe and relaxed in this loving environment, and I was able to let go of all my worries and anxieties. I feel like I am becoming a part of a love that is spreading to my whole soul. I felt reborn here, and I felt myself becoming more authentic and free. This feeling is like nothing I have ever experienced before, and I am feeling life in a whole new way. As I approached the center of the light, a beautiful scene came to me. The sight of heaven blew me away. It was more beautiful than any beautiful scene I had ever imagined. Flowers glowed with beautiful colors in the light. A softness filled the scene and made me feel incredibly calm and comfortable. In the center of the paradise, I saw a huge building. Surrounding it was a peaceful lake. Around the lake, there were many people enjoying the beauty of paradise. They were all glowing with light, and everyone was very happy and content. I saw some people taking a walk. I felt completely absorbed in this wonderful scene. I saw myself start to glow too, and people around me were smiling and nodding at me. Their welcome made me feel very warm. This is really a place full of love and peace, and I wish I could stay here all the time and enjoy this wonderful feeling. Suddenly, I felt something float by me. I looked back and saw a beautiful angel. She had shiny wings and a kind face. She looked very friendly, so I walked toward her and tried to talk to her. She told me that her job was to help people who were new to this place, to get them to adjust to life here faster. The angel invited me to follow her and visit some of the places in heaven with her. We passed by a square, and then we came to a beautiful garden. There, I met many loved ones and friends who had passed away and were enjoying the good life in heaven. Finally, the angel told me that she needed to get back to work. I said to the angel, thank you for bringing me here." The angel smiled and replied, "I'm glad I could bring you here. But your time is not up yet. Now is the time to go back." "I understand. Thank you for the reminder that it's time for me to go back," I told the angel. The angel smiled at me and said, I will walk you to the exit." On the way, I said to the angel, "I don't really want to go back, it's too nice here." The angel replied patiently, "You still have a lot of missions and goals to accomplish in your life. You will always be welcome here, but for now, you need to go back." I nodded my head. I went back into the darkness. I suddenly saw my husband appear in front of me, and we embraced each other excitedly. I said, "Honey, let's go home." My husband was silent for a moment. He told me, "Honey, I can't go back. My time is over." I was so shocked, I didn't expect this to happen at all. I grabbed his hand tightly and said with tears in my eyes, "We should be together forever. I would be so lonely without you." He hugged me tenderly and said, "You will not be alone. The angels and I will always be with you to help you through the hard times. I will always pray for you in the light and wait for you to come back here. You still have a long way to go, and you have to keep living until you finish all your tasks." I don't know what to say, I feel so sad and alone. But I also knew that my husband didn't want that either. Despite the loss and sadness that filled my heart, I let go of his hand. He slowly flew away from me and eventually disappeared into the light. I knew that one day I would see him again. Suddenly, I felt a slight dizziness and I found myself back at the scene of the crash. I felt the connection between my soul and my body. Then, I began to try to reconnect with my body. I felt a strong shock and I was back in my body. I opened my eyes and saw my husband, and I knew he was gone. Soon after, I was admitted to the hospital. My entire body was broken in multiple places. Although I was sad to see my husband go, I also knew he was happy in that place. I spent a long recovery in the hospital. I will often miss my husband. I am sure that we will meet again in the near future. I thank God for giving me this unforgettable experience, which gave me a deeper understanding of the meaning of life. I began to cherish every day of my life more. Because I know that this is the only way to live a more fulfilling and exciting life. I also began to pay more attention to my physical health. I would exercise and eat healthily, which made me feel more energetic. I value more those who supported me and whose love and concern helped me get through this difficult time. I am grateful that this experience has helped me learn more about myself and has made me strong and confident. I believe I can face the challenges and difficulties ahead.
This experience happened 38 years ago, when I was only 10 years old. Every year during my vacation, I would go to my grandfather's house to play. Grandfather lived in a beautiful countryside. I loved the environment there because it made me feel relaxed and at ease. Besides my grandfather, I had a cousin who was 2 years older than me, and we always played together. Near my grandfather's house there was a beautiful little river where the water was very clear. My cousin and I would often go there to fish. The scenery around the river was very beautiful, with many tall trees. It was a hot summer day and my brother and I wanted to go fishing on the river. We approached our grandfather and hoped that he would agree to our request. Grandfather didn't agree at first, but we kept begging him. Finally, grandfather agreed to our request. Grandfather reminded us not to go into the water. We grabbed our fishing gear and food and went to the river. We found a quiet place, sat down and started fishing. Time passed slowly and we didn't catch a single fish. My brother and I started to feel a little frustrated, but we didn't give up. We decided to try a different place, hoping to catch some fish. We found a new place and started preparing again. We waited quietly for the fish to take the bait. Suddenly, my rod started to shake and I felt very excited because I knew I had caught a fish. This fish was very smart and kept struggling to try to escape our hook. Finally, I managed to catch this fish. We were very excited because it was the first fish we had caught today. We started discussing the type and size of this fish. We fished for some more time and managed to catch a few fish. I reminded my cousin that it was time for us to go home, but he didn't seem to want to leave. He replied, a little angrily, that he had to catch a fish before he left because I caught all the fish in the fish frame. Time went by and we waited for quite a while at the river, but there was never any movement in Cousin's fishing rod. After a while, Cousin's hook got stuck on something. He tried to adjust the position of the fishing rod, but still could not pull the hook out of the water. He was ready to take off his clothes and go down the river to get the fish hook up. I immediately reminded my cousin that my grandfather told us not to go into the water. But my cousin didn't seem to pay attention to my words. I felt a little worried, knowing that the river could be very deep and the current was strong. Cousin walked in the direction of the fish hook. Soon, I noticed that my cousin started to struggle. I shouted to him to get back to the shore. But he was already submerged in the water. I found a branch on the shore. After he grabbed the branch, I started to pull him hard. However, an accident happened and I was dragged into the water. The water slowly flooded over my head and wrapped my whole body in it. I tried to breathe, but each breath made me feel more painful. My throat felt like something was blocking it. Not a single ounce of oxygen could enter my lungs. Suddenly, I seemed to hit something and a sharp pain shot through my back. My body started to get weaker and weaker, and I started to sink under the water. The realization that I was dying filled my heart with despair. I knew there was nothing I could do, and I was ready to face my impending death. Suddenly, I heard a voice. He told me, "Relax, everything will be fine." I felt a pair of gentle hands holding me, making me feel inexplicably safe. Although I was still submerged, the fear in my heart faded away. The voice made me feel close, as if it was a friend I knew. He told me not to be afraid, and that he would lead me out of this predicament. I suddenly felt my body being lifted up. I felt that I was no longer bound by the water and could breathe freely. My body felt light and comfortable. With the help of an angel, I floated toward a bright light. I felt this light getting brighter and brighter. When we reached that light, I felt its energy. I knew I had gone beyond the boundaries of life to a new realm. I was about to thank the angel when he had disappeared. I continued to float there, my mind filled with doubts. I didn't know where this was or what was going to happen next. I also felt, at the same time, that this place was so familiar, as if I had been here before. Just then, I saw a man approaching me. As he approached, I felt a strong wave of love. The energy was boundless and I felt like I was about to explode. This man seemed very familiar with me, as if he was waiting for me to arrive. I could communicate with him through my thoughts. He told me he was here to help me with my problem. Then he showed me some images, like a movie unfolding in front of my eyes. My life was going backwards. I saw one of the images. It was a hot summer day. My friends and I were playing in the street. After seeing my neighbor's bike, I thought of a prank to deflate the bike tires. So I loosened the air nozzle of the tire a bit, and then the gas slowly leaked out of the tire. At that time, I felt this prank was very funny and my friends were very excited. A few days later, my neighbor complained to my parents that the tires on the bike were always leaking air. My parents asked me, "Did you do this?" I was afraid to tell the truth because I was afraid of being blamed and punished, so I denied it. When I saw this image, I felt very regretful. The man didn't criticize me. It just smiled and told me that the past could not be changed and that anyone can make mistakes. The only thing you can do now is to learn from past mistakes and become a better person. What was shown wasn't all bad. I saw an image that made me proud. One day, while walking around my home, I found a black wallet on the side of the road. I decided to wait a while and see if anyone came back to look for it. I waited there for a long time, but no one showed up. I thought the owner might have left the area, so I decided to give the wallet to the police department and let them find the owner. A few days later, a lady found my house. She thanked me for helping her find the wallet. She told me that a photo in the wallet was very important to her. Her mother had died a long time ago, and it was the only picture her mother had. I was glad that I was able to help her and glad that I gave the wallet to the police department. The lady asked me if I needed payment and I declined her kind offer. She gave me a grateful hug. It made me feel very satisfied and happy. Then the movie stopped, and everything I wanted to know was answered. The man asked me, "Would you like to go for a stroll in the garden?" I saw a beautiful garden. Each flower in the garden was blooming with a different color. As we continued walking along the garden, we entered a wide lawn. There were many small children playing happily on the lawn. One little girl came up to me. She looked only 7 or 8 years old. She asked me, "Are you new here?" I nodded my head. She smiled and said, "Welcome, would you like to play with us?" I was very happy to say yes, and then she took me to meet the other children. We sat under a big tree. She took out a small handkerchief with small stones of various colors. She said, "This is my baby, which contains the small stones I collected. Would you like to play a game of guess the color with us?" I nodded my head, indicating that I would like to play the game with them. The little girl told me that she would take out a stone and hold it in her hand, and I would have to guess what color it was. If I guessed correctly, she would give me a stone. I looked at the little girl's hand and tried to guess which color stone she was holding. My answer was green, because green was the color she collected the most. The little girl showed her hand, which was holding a green stone. She exclaimed excitedly, "You guessed it." She handed the stone to me and I took it feeling very happy. The other children also got excited and started to show me their own collections and asked me to guess the color of them. This game was full of fun and surprises and made me feel very happy. Finally, one of the little boys said, "My mommy told me to go home, I can't play with you guys anymore." When I heard the little boy's words, I felt a pang of sadness. I began to miss my family, especially my grandfather. I could imagine the grief he felt inside when he heard the news that I had died. I didn't want my parents to blame him either. The man beside me seemed to sense my uneasiness, and he told me that it was time to go back, and that you had a lot of unfinished business. I asked him curiously, "What task?" He did not reveal more details, just told me, "You will know when the time comes." Suddenly, I felt a lurch. I saw my surroundings become blurred, followed by darkness. After a while, I realized I was back in that river. I was very surprised and confused because I remembered that I was dead. I looked up and saw that the man was still beside me. He smiled and said to me, "Go back to your family." Then he slowly disappeared in front of my eyes. I felt my body was gradually coming back to life. I found myself lying on the bank of the river. I saw the beautiful blue sky again, and I could breathe again. I saw my brother also lying on the bank. I nudged my brother, and he slowly woke up. We both looked at each other in surprise. Just then, I heard a voice, "Children, are you all right?" I looked up and found my grandfather running toward us. His eyes were full of worry and care. My brother and I immediately sat up from the ground and hugged our grandfather tightly. He helped us up and took us back home. When we got home, my grandmother found some clothes for us to change into. I was about to take off my clothes when I found a hard object in my pocket. I pulled it out and saw that it was the green stone. I was shocked because I knew it was given to me by that little girl. I put the stone in my hand and felt its weight and texture. I knew that this stone was a special gift. Next year, I will turn 60 years old. That stone has always been with me. Whenever I see it, I remember that amazing experience. The experience that changed the course of my life. I want to tell the whole world that God and heaven are real. I am praying silently that one day everyone will feel the love and warmth of God. Whenever I remember that experience, my heart is filled with gratitude and awe. We should treat everyone around us with as much love as possible. Although sometimes I will encounter challenges, I will think of that rock and that little girl who will remind me of the presence of God.